Imagine a weapon so simple, so reliable, and so deadly that it has killed more human beings than any gun ever created in history. Not a missile, not a bomb, not some sophisticated military technology, just a rifle, a Russian rifle, one that looks almost crude compared to modern weapons. And yet, between 1945 and today, historians estimate this one weapon has been responsible for 30 to 70 million deaths across the globe. That's more than all the nuclear weapons, all the tanks, all the missiles combined. The weapon? The AK-47. And today, we're investigating exactly why this gun became the deadliest force in modern human history. In 1947, a Soviet engineer named Mikhail Kalashnikov sat in a factory in Izhevsk, Russia. He wasn't trying to create history. He was simply tasked with one thing: design a rifle that was better than the German MP-44. What Kalashnikov didn't know was that his creation would change warfare forever. The AK-47, which stands for Automatic Kalashnikov, 1947, was born from a simple philosophy. Keep it simple. Make it reliable. Make it work in any condition. Unlike American and British rifles of the time, which were complex and required constant maintenance, Kalashnikov's rifle was different. Large tolerances meant it worked in sand, mud, water, extreme heat, extreme cold. Minimal parts equals easier to manufacture. Easier to use equals easier to train soldiers. Cheap to produce equals massive production capability. In short, it was the perfect weapon for a world about to explode into regional conflicts. The AK-47 didn't become the world's deadliest weapon because it was the best gun. It became deadly because of three critical factors. After World War II, the Soviet Union had a simple strategy: export revolution. They armed every communist movement, every liberation group, every insurgency that opposed Western interests. Vietnam, Soviet AK-47s. Afghanistan, Soviet AK-47s. Cuba, Soviet AK-47s. Korea, Soviet AK-47s. Middle East, Soviet AK-47s. Africa, Soviet AK-47s. The Soviets didn't just sell weapons, they flooded the world with them. By the 1960s, there were millions of AK-47s in circulation across 50-plus countries. Here's where it gets interesting. China, as a Soviet ally, was given the blueprint to manufacture AK-47s. They produced the Type 56 rifle, basically a Chinese copy. But here's the problem: they made it cheaper. Now you had two countries mass-producing AK-47s at scale. And because China and Soviet production was so cheap, these rifles flooded illegal arms markets. Insurgents, criminals, terrorist groups, gang members, everyone had access to AK-47s. Not because they were buying government-issued weapons, but because they were so common and cheap on the black market that you could literally find them everywhere. Unlike most World War II weapons that became obsolete, the AK-47 has been continuously manufactured for 79 years. Think about that for a second. Every single year since 1947, factories in Russia, China, Venezuela, and dozens of other countries have been pumping out AK-47s in variants. Modern estimates suggest there are between 75 to 100 million AK-47s in existence today. To put that in perspective, there are only 8 billion people on Earth. There's roughly one AK-47 for every 80 people alive right now, and it still hasn't stopped being made. Let's break down the numbers, because 30 to 70 million deaths is incomprehensible. We need to understand where these deaths happened. North Vietnam and Viet Cong soldiers were armed almost exclusively with AK-47s. American soldiers quickly realized the AK-47 was devastating in jungle warfare. Official death toll: 3.8 million people, military and civilian combined. Historians estimate AK-47s were responsible for roughly 60 to 70% of these deaths. That's approximately 2.3 million deaths from one weapon in one conflict. Soviet soldiers invaded Afghanistan with AK-47s. Mujahideen fighters fought back with AK-47s, captured from Soviet supply lines. Death toll: 2 million people. The irony? The Soviets were killed by their own weapon, which the enemy captured and used against them. Known as Africa's World War, The Second Congo War involved 9 different countries and countless militia groups. Death toll, 5.4 million people, mostly civilians. Why so many civilians? AK-47s are so easy to use that even untrained militias could pick one up and massacre entire villages. That's what happens when a weapon is that accessible and that deadly. Rwandan genocide, 800,000 deaths. Syrian civil war, 500,000 plus deaths. Somali civil war, 300,000 plus deaths. Yemen civil war, 300,000 plus deaths. Multiple Chechen wars, 400,000 plus deaths. Iraq war, 600,000 plus deaths. Afghan war, 200,000 plus deaths. Mozambique civil war, 1 million deaths. Colombian conflict, 220,000 deaths. Countless African conflicts and gang violence. When you add them all up, the AK-47's kill count is absolutely staggering. But here's what makes the AK-47 truly unstoppable, and why it's killed so many people. When you hear an AK-47 fire, it sounds different. The distinctive tac-tac-tac sound is instantly recognizable. This creates psychological terror. Soldiers know what they're facing. Civilians panic. A soldier can go months without cleaning an AK-47. Drop it in a river? Still works. Drag it through a desert? Still works. Leave it in the mud for weeks? Still works. Compare that to an M16 or M4, which jam if you don't maintain them properly. This reliability means in combat, the AK-47 soldier has a 99% chance their weapon will fire when needed. The other guy? Maybe 85%. In war, that 14% difference means lives. A trained soldier takes weeks to master a rifle. An AK-47? A teenager can be trained to use it in 30 minutes. This is why militant groups and criminal organizations love it. They don't need professional soldiers. They just need warm bodies with an AK-47. The 7.62 by 39 mm cartridge used by the AK-47 is the most produced ammunition in the world. You can find it in any war zone, any black market, any conflict zone on Earth. A bullet costs less than a cup of coffee. In some places, less than a cent. The AK-47 isn't just a gun. It's a symbol of modern warfare. It represents the power of simple, effective design, the consequences of mass production, the reality that ideology plus weapons equals massive death, and the idea that one person's invention can shape human history for generations. When Mikhail Kalashnikov died in 2013, he reportedly said, "If my rifle caused a lot of deaths, then, to some extent, I have responsibility for this, but I have thought about it long enough, and I'm comforted by the fact that I never wanted to invent a weapon to kill somebody. I invented it to defend the borders of my fatherland." But intent doesn't matter when your creation kills 30 to 70 million people. Today, the AK-47 remains the most widely used rifle in the world, the standard weapon of 100-plus military forces, the most common weapon in criminal hands, still being manufactured in 10-plus countries. It's estimated there's an AK-47 somewhere pointing at someone right now, as you watch this video. The AK-47 proved something terrifying. The deadliest weapons aren't always the most sophisticated. Sometimes the deadliest weapon is the one that's simple enough for anyone to use, reliable enough to never fail you, and cheap enough to give to millions. That's why, nearly 80 years after its creation, the AK-47 remains humanity's deadliest creation. Not because it's the most powerful, but because it's the most accessible. If you learned something today, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into history's most dangerous weapons. What do you think? Should the AK-47 be banned? Or is it just a tool? Let me know in the comments. Next week, we're analyzing the Welrod pistol, the weapon that was literally designed to kill people silently. You won't believe how many assassinations used this gun. See you then.